Okay guys, I'm back with directions. Since we're still focusing on 1/2, I want you guys to look at this, and I want you to label where the halfway point is between 0 and 1, between 1 and 2, and between 2 and 3. Label halfway point of each for number 1. For number 2, I want you to do the same thing. I want you to find the distance between 0 and 1, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 4 and 5, and 5 and 6. But down here you need to answer a question for me. I'm going to write a question down here that I want you to respond to. They're both halves, but how are the halves the same and different? How are the halves in number 1 and number 2 the same and different? So compare and contrast those two. How are the halves here the same and different? I want you to talk about that with your family, write it out, and then be able to tell me why, okay? So pause that if you need to work on it and answer it. Right now would be a good time to do that. And then we'll work on page 241, which is where we'll need this. So pause right now if you need to, before I go on to the next one. Okay. Page 241 looks like this. It's a bunch of number lines, but they're not messing with us in number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Every one of these has 0 to 1. So there's no mixed numbers, which is great. There are no mixed numbers until number 5. Number 5 is a tricky one because number 5 has 3 holes. Here's 1 hole, 2 holes, 3 holes. So what we need to do is we need to partition, that means break up, each number line to locate and then label the given fraction. And it says, hint, on some number lines there is more than 1 hole, and in parentheses I put number 5. So it's going to be a whole number beyond 1 hole. So this first one, it's asking us to do 1/3. We need to break it into thirds and put a dot and label 1/3. I'm going to take it a step further. I'm going to ask you to label each fraction, but put a dot over this one. So for example, I will put this one for us into thirds. And if you're not sure, please use your chart that we made together a few lessons ago. Oh, thirds. Okay, this one's the tricky one, where I start on each end and then I bring my fingers together until they're about equal distances. So I'll do that again on my other one here. Okay, to break it into thirds. So bring it together right there. Looks good. So I'm going to mark it here, and I'm going to mark it here. A little bit off, but it's okay for our purposes. Doesn't have to be perfect. So let's see. If this is 0, that's the same as 0/3. This would be the same as 3/3. This one is thirds, and this one is thirds. So if this is 0 for our numerator, and this is 3 for our numerator, this must be 0/3, 1/3, 2/3, and 3/3. The fraction they want us to label is 1/3. So I want you to put a dot on the number line where 1/3 is located. So is this 1/3 or this 1/3? Wait, 1/3. Hello, Mrs. Childs. 1/3. So put a dot there. We just partitioned. We labeled it and partitioned, and we identified the fraction on the number line. That's what I would like you to do. It's very much like our chart, but instead of just labeling them, we also need to identify where the fraction is. So I'm excited to see how you guys do. For number 2, you are going to be finding and labeling 2/6. So how do I know what to break it into? I'm going to write in a different color. I'm going to write in blue for this for you. A reminder, bottom number is the denominator. And that gives you the number of pieces, the total number of pieces that you have, or that it's broken into. Total number of pieces. The top number is your numerator. Your numerator tells you how many you have, or the number shaded, or the number on the number line. Oh, you can't tell that. Oh well, this is green. Numerator is the top number, and that tells us the number we have. The number shaded, or the number that we want to link on our number line. The number shaded, or the number we want. So if we look at number 2, it's telling us to find 2/6. So guess what we need to do? What number of pieces do we have to break it into? Total number of pieces. Oh, denominator tells us. So for number 2, the 6ths, that's how many pieces we need. Equal pieces. So if I use this over here to look at, oh, here's my 6th. I need 6 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, that's just like thirds, look. 2/3 is the same as 4/6. 1/3 is the same as 2/6. So I can use that to help me. So I'm going to go like this. 3 pieces, and I divide those in half. Exactly halfway. Right here, that's half. Right here is half. Right here is half. These are 6ths. So you can use this as your hint to do the rest. Remember, you're not only partitioning it, you're locating 2/6 on the number line. And here's your hint for that, 6/6. I'm going to leave the rest to you to try on your own like we would in real life. Number 3 is 3/4. Number 4 is 6/8. I like how they put those together. It makes it easier to partition. And number 5 is telling you to do 8/3. Oh my gosh, they want each whole divided into 3. There's your hint. Every one of these wholes needs to be divided into 3. Let's see if you can do it. I bet you can, because you're glorious. I will talk with you tomorrow.